really is that the capital markets are meant for something that will lead us to equity resources, and we are not leveraging on it. And therefore, the question, it's not a question of whether monetization of mineral royalties or listing of the company is bad or good. It is good because that is how you raise resources. The question is the process of doing that. If we have a problem with the process, let's articulate it, let's cure it, but let's not drop, something that will be good for us and reduce our debt exposure. So those are two very different questions. How best to do it, as opposed to don't do it. And so my mind is still there. I know the president has mentioned something about that, going through the AG and Parliament again to do that. But it's not something that I think is an asset to the country that one needs to drop. You need to examine all your equity and debt positions and make the best choice for the country, not the fleeting instances. We would never have done senior high school if we listened to other people. That's 400,000 lives now, that have a chance to do something. We would have stopped short at e-levy because of the noise, and suddenly we have a tax handle that will be phenomenally important for the country. So we need to look at that. I think with regards to, once again, the results of the consolidation and the announcements about travel and reduction in salaries and all of that, the controller will be giving us a report to see. But it's really early days yet. But I think what was significant was really the issue of sacrifice and recognition by leadership that these are difficult times and we should join. Sometimes it's not a quantum, but it's exercising a sense that you are au fait with what is happening with your people and you are joining in it to make sure that you are all burden sharing. And I think that may be the more important lesson. But it leads to a certain frugality because now, I went to the spring meetings with 8 people, as opposed to prior years that may be double or 3 times, depending on all of the meetings, because now Zoom has become a real part of our lives, So I think that signaling is what must be heralded, an acknowledgement that we are all one people and we should burden share, and then the bonus will be the savings that will come out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, so that's the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. Well, there's a lot of reaction already coming through, especially from the minority in Parliament, which is raising some concerns about the attempt of government to reintroduce the deal. Joining us now is one of the members of the legal teams and also ranking on the Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, Roxanne Nelson Dapiamakpo. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So why is the minority still having concerns with this deal, particularly when government is giving indications that there may be some reforms to the earlier concerns that you raised?
Now, thank you very much. Let me also correct that I'm not the ranking of constitutional legal, I'm just a member.
Right.
But first of all, what is the nature of reform of the Jaffa deal that they want to return to Parliament? Our consensus has been that it is not economically prudent for a government to take our mineral royalties, that's raking nearly $200 million every year, to collateralize that for 15 years, and in return get 500 million from the stock exchange in London. It doesn't make sense. If the regular inflow of revenue for every year can give us $200 million, there's a lot that we can do with that as a country. And so for 15 years, 200 million times 15, that is $30 million. Hello?
I'm with you, sir.
200 million times 15 years, That comes to about how much? That comes to about $33 billion. We can do a lot with that as a country. Instead of taking 500 million at a time. That's their concern. It doesn't make any economic sense for government to insist on pushing this bill down our throat.
But I guess the point is we have an opportunity to make the deal better. I'm not sure the minority is entirely against the idea of making...
You listen to him. Listen to him.
Right.
This is a minister who kept saying we are in difficult times. Ask him who created the difficulties. He has come to create the difficulties. We expected that he will introduce austerity measures. He's not cutting down expenditure. He announced in February that he will cut down expenditure by 20%. As we speak, he's not giving an indication as to which aspects of the 2022 expenditure line is being cut. He has not reduced the size of his government. So if they keep telling us that we should tighten our belt, we need more revenue, and yet the government is not slowing down in terms of expenditure, then it's difficult for us to support them. In any case, it's not spoken about the reforms that they intend to introduce in the JAPA deal. We are completely against the JAPA, whether reformed or not. That's the position of the minority.
But I guess you're not against the idea of trying to get more from our mineral royalties. That idea in itself is good, and I guess that's why government says they'll be engaging further.
It's not getting more from the mineral royalties are nearly constant. The calculation is that for every year we get nearly $200 million. That's the calculation. And for having calculated that, they now want to collateralize it and get about 500 million from the stock exchange. How does that make economic sense? And they want to do that for 15 years. Tell me if that makes sense to you. You may not be an economist, you are a journalist, but tell me if that makes economic sense to you. It doesn't. And it is a central structure of the deal that I don't think they will want to amend.
So if that's the point you're making, what then is the minority's alternative to all of this?
That Japan is not a good deal. That pursuant to the minerals investment fund, we get regular inflow of nearly $200 million. The government should be able to plan with that $200 million and work with it and get it every year.
So what you mean to say is that regardless of the changes, no matter how good it may be, you will not support the name. Is it about the name really?
Hello?
Yes, I'm asking if your challenge is with the name or the idea, because I guess you're not necessarily
it's not about
against
the name
the idea
at all. It's not about the name. It's about the content of the deal. And the content of the central content of the deal is to the effect that they want to collateralize the mineral investment inflows, the royalties that come in.
But I guess that's why government is now perhaps listening to your feedback and is saying we need to change some things. Why not make the input as to what it is that needs to change?
So, but they're making a declaration.
Yeah, but they're giving indications that engagement will happen.
You know, you have to engage before you declare. You don't declare before you engage. So if you go ahead to declare that you are reintroducing a JAPA, then what are we getting engaged on? Practically nothing. You have to engage for us to agree on the terms. Yeah. Before you introduce.
Right, and for some people, this is where we're likely to head into another deadlock in Parliament with sharp divisions on this matter of just making much more out of our mineral royalties. Is that to suggest that...
It tells you that the government is not learning from its mistakes. That's what it tells you. That's what it should tell you.
So how about consensus on this matter?
We are not building, we've declared that we are not building consensus on a JAPA. We will not. Because we are vehemently opposed to the structure of the agreement. We don't want our mineral royalties collateralized, not in any form. But from the announcement, government is insisting on doing exactly that. And that's the problem of the minority on the matter.
All right, then. We'll have to leave it here. Thank you so much for joining us. That's Roxon Nelson Dafiamakot sharing his thoughts with us.